No, Maya Arnold, welcome back. The people of Ukraine have celebrated a defiant day of unity while the threat of Russian invasion hangs over them.
The New Zealand head of Foreign Affairs has described the standoff as one of the most significant risks to international peace since the end of the Cold War. And as Europe correspondent Lisette Reymer reports, those in Kiev are not leaving anything to chance.
Warned that today could be the day the war began, Ukrainians responded with an impressive show of not military force, but unity, adorning the country in blue and yellow, flying the national flag in the face of fear.
I will fight tooth and nail.
US and UK analysts had suggested an early morning invasion was coming, and while it never did, Ukrainians know it still could.
I can be a paramedic, so I'm joining the medical forces, and my husband joins the army.
Wow, so you would try and help?
Yeah.
You wouldn't leave?
No.
Why wouldn't you just leave?
Because I have kids, and I want this to be their homeland.
The Russian military was only dropping videos today, a show of force on land and in the sky, but also its military vehicles being transported out of Crimea. Day 2 of Russia claiming it's pulling back. Day 2 of NATO members pointing to evidence of tanks moving towards the border.
What we see today is that Russia maintains a massive invasion force ready to attack.
And no one wants to be caught unprepared. In Kiev, an interactive map shows the bomb shelters near you, and they are as common as a corner dairy in New Zealand. Faded arrows adorn derelict buildings, pointing you in the right direction until you find what you're looking for.
And here it is.
A strange Ukrainian treasure hunt.
Just keeps on going. So this is just a big open space that people can come and take shelter if they need to.
Where the treasure is your safety.
That's amazing. So there are 5,000 of these all around the city, enough to house or shelter 2 million people if an invasion was to occur.
But this is where most will come, 105 metres underground to the bottom of the deepest subway system in the world.
In the event of an invasion, thousands of Ukrainians would come down here to the subway. This portion of the floor folds up and creates a wall, and this here would quickly become the best bomb shelter in Kiev.
It's a long way from New Zealand, where Michael DeVoe's family would prefer him to be.
Are they worried that you're here?
Yeah, of course, because they read the newspapers.
After 18 years here, he's prepared to leave it all and flee via the Polish border if worst comes to worst.
What it will be to jump in the car and drive away, potentially never come back. So those are all, yeah.
Wow.
Stress, yeah. So.
That's a daunting prospect.
Yeah, I think, most people here are pretty stressed.
But they have shown today they are also united, and united they stand.
Well, Lisette is with us now from Kiev, and no invasion today. Are the British and American spies just getting it wrong, or is there something else happening?
Not necessarily, Mike. The UK and the US are embracing what is known as information warfare. They are holding regular briefings, sharing an unusual amount of information about the intelligence they have in the hope that it would rob Putin of that element of surprise and discourage him from going ahead with his plans. So just because an invasion didn't happen, it doesn't mean it wasn't planned. That is not the narrative the Kremlin is obviously keen to push. In the last 24 hours, they have ridiculed and mocked the West and the media over the war that never came. The ambassador to Russia came out rather gleefully and said, "Don't you guys know wars don't start on Wednesdays?" But what is a laughing matter perhaps for Russia is certainly not for the rest of the world. The US is still warning we are in that critical window where an invasion could happen at any moment. And we've just heard reports that there are now around 7,000 new Russian troops advancing towards the border. And in the last half hour, we've heard reports that Russian-backed rebels in Ukraine are now claiming they have been hit by a mortar that was fired by Ukrainian forces. Now, that is critical because the US has always warned that Putin may start this invasion with what is known as a false flag operation, where he fires and starts a launch on Russian forces or on Russian land and claims it was Ukraine as an excuse for him to start his own invasion.